Yo, what up, my beautiful dowdies? How's everyone doing today? I'm your host, Feixiao, and let's talk about Dr. Ratio. Feixiao is just around the corner, and she's going to be 100% the strongest DPS for your follow-up attack compositions. What is the future for Dr. Ratio, you know? All our Dr. Ratio mains out there, what value will Ratio still bring for your account? Is he still worth using? If he ever is in a rerun, should you skip Feixiao still for Dr. Ratio? Where is he going to be in the meta? That's what I really want to talk about with you guys this video, because Dr. Ratio can be in a very awkward position with Feixiao's release. So let's get straight into it. Should you still use Dr. Ratio, and what is his future in Honkai Star Rail? Dr. Ratio is actually a very cool unit. For the people that don't know, we of course got him for free. All the way back, what was it, 1.6? If I'm not mistaken, we got an announcement on the live stream that he was going to be free. This was of course crazy, right? Honkai Star Rail broke records with this. It was the first time ever, blah blah blah. It was a massive thing for the community. We got a limited 5-star, a brand new one, just for free in our mailbox. That is crazy. And everyone started to pick up very quickly that Dr. Ratio did not mess around. He was a very strong unit. He was dominating MOC. He was very good in just locking down on one target, completely bursting that one, and then going over to the next one just like that, you know, very smoothly. And with the combination with Topaz, the Ratio got better and better. Then when Robin came out, Ratio got even better, and Aventurine, you know, and all of a sudden this whole follow-up attack synergy team was completed, and Ratio was better than he was ever before. But now the rise of Ratio, of course, sadly must come a downfall. Feixiao is going to be 10 times better than Dr. Ratio, in my opinion. The setup that he has, Ratio, Topaz, Robin, Aventurine, if you take out Dr. Ratio and you put Feixiao in there, you will have way more damage, more consistent damage, and we just have a better time overall, right? Does this mean that Dr. Ratio is POWERCREEP? Is he bad? Can you still use him? What is his future? And I still think that Dr. Ratio is good. Also take in account that luckily, there are different elements. Let's say you have a stage where imaginary is all of a sudden very needed. You still have that Dr. Ratio, because the whole composition does, especially if you use Linkshare, right, does not do imaginary damage. Yes, we have the Aventurine, but it's not like Aventurine is going to carry you throughout the weakness, you know. He does just follow-up attacks, but his job is sustaining and applying those bonus things he has in his kit. It's not really breaking shield and dealing damage. So Dr. Ratio still has value, in my opinion. Yes, Feixiao is on paper going to be the better DPS, but Dr. Ratio is not going to be useless. He's not going to be all of a sudden unusable, right? You can still use Dr. Ratio, and even if you do not like Feixiao, the Dr. Ratio team is still going to be amazing. The follow-up attack team just swapped out a different DPS. Does this mean that when you swap out Feixiao and you swap back Dr. Ratio, this team's all of a sudden bad? No, they're still going to perform really well. And I think one of the greatest things from Dr. Ratio is, of course, his synergistic follow-up attack thing with the debuffing, and just that he follows up on the follow-up attacks as well, where Feixiao is more like a real hyper carry build-up for this one big skill, right? Dr. Ratio plays differently as well, so 100% in some scenarios he could help maybe out more. Now, with the setup though, we are looking at a very consistent composition when you do have those follow-up attacks with Feixiao, because she needs those battery units or those other follow-up attack units to actually stack up her ultimate. With this premium setup, Feixiao is able to beat Ratio and do it consistently, right? Do it again. And of course, with her light cone, she beats the Ratio as well. Sadly, the Dr. Ratio light cone is good, and the Dr. Ratio light cone is good on Dr. Ratio, but as we've seen in previous videos and just the internet as a whole, right, the Feixiao light cone is crazy. So Feixiao is a little bit of the same as Boot Hill Firefly. Like, the Dr. Ratio Feixiao situation is the same, in my opinion. Now, of course, the bias around Feixiao is not there. Firefly really got bias problems with how she was treated, you know. Hoyoverse, that was their little baby, you know. Boot Hill just got completely run over by Firefly, you know. The Orphan Rope, to this day, I still can't make my peace with it that they did that. They just made it for Firefly and they just spit in Boot Hill's face, you know. Which is very sad, because Boot Hill still, to this day, very good unit, strong. Just everything is more favored and catered towards Firefly. Doesn't mean that Boot Hill is bad. No, Boot Hill's still clearing content, and he's also very strong. This is going to be the same thing with Dr. Ratio and Feixiao. Now, of course, Feixiao doesn't have like a specific relic set that's going to be better for her. We're going to get a new orb and rope set, but it's not like it's only for her, you know? The fire element in the orb and rope for Firefly, that's really where it like shines, right? Where it was disgusting. So all the relics and things around that stats, that's not really the issue. The issue is that Feixiao is just miles ahead. Her kit, it's like if you compare right now Acheron to Kafka, right? Kafka, very good. Is missing a lot of components with team compositions, but if you take their base kits right now with their best setup, Acheron's kit and just her whole best in slot damage is just way better than Kafka. And Feixiao is just going to be in that same position as well. Feixiao will just do it better right now. And Feixiao will do it faster and more consistent. And I do think that the biggest like thing is that they're both hunt characters. And that is really where the clash happens, right? Yes, Dr. Ratio is imaginary. Yes, Feixiao is wind. Cool. We can still maybe do some shenanigans with that, right? What I said previously, you can get the right element still, especially if your ratio is built. You can still use them in those certain scenarios. When that is not a problem, and especially when Feixiao is going to come out, we're probably going to see more wind weakness on the enemy. They play the same. They're both hunt characters. They both want to be played with Topaz, you know? They're going to be very good with that combination. They're both going to be crit rate, crit damage. You know, that's why it's so frustrating to see that these things happen. If Feixiao was going to be a little bit more different and Ratio would still claim like the best follow-up attack hunt character, then this video would not even be made, right? It was going to be okay. The hunt path clash is really where it's sad to see Ratio in the position that he is in right now. And I do think that, my opinion, this is my humble take, you know, if you want the best setup, if you want the most premium damage, if you want the best character now to the end of time, I sadly have to say that Ratio is probably going to be benched to the end of time. Because Feixiao is there now, and she will just do it always better. I don't really see a world where Ratio is just going to be better, other than his element ever being more useful than Wind, you know? Or maybe there's going to be a follow-up attack synergistic character, maybe with debuffing, that really like shines with that, because Ratio does like that debuff strategy, you know, for that 100% extra follow-up attack that he can implement. So stuff like that, there is still hope, and hope as in that he might take over the #1 spot again. Now, that is probably not going to happen, sadly. I have to like break your guys' vision on that a little bit. I think that Ratio is always going to be #2, and that is okay. You guys have to realize that #2 doesn't mean that he's useless. #2 doesn't mean that he's going to be bad. #2 doesn't mean that he can't clear content. #2 is #2. It's one below #1, and we all know how good a #2 can be. Even with Bootil and Firefly again. Bootil's the #2 spot for a break composition, and that guy is amazing, right? #2 doesn't mean that you are going to all of a sudden be stuck on content, or you're going to be struggling with stuff, especially for the people that are follow-up attack fanatics. You guys probably have Topaz, Robin, and Aventurine. If you have that setup, guys, how premium can it get? I think the follow-up attack roster has the most premium setup right now as we speak. I think all of them are limited 5-star units. They even have like cool light cone options. The Topaz light cone is always really good for Topaz to really take it to the next level. #2 doesn't mean bad, you know? He's still going to pop off, even though that you do not like Feixiao now, or you are super comfortable with your Dr. Ratio, Topaz, Robin, Aventurine team. You might want to focus or put more investment in your second team, or maybe a pure fiction team, you know, because you do struggle a little bit with your hyper carry in the single target. Maybe you want to save up some Jades for Rappa that is coming out because she's going to be a edition, you know? It is okay to skip Feixiao. There's always going to be a rerun. And with probably the new rerun system, which I'm also making a video about, you know, things are going to change there as well. It's probably going to be more rapid and smoothly there with the rerun. So don't stress too much with the Ratio versus Feixiao. Yes, Feixiao will do it faster, better, stronger. But Ratio is still good, strong, and fast and consistent himself. Ratio, Topaz, Robin, Aventurine, and then you are going to pick up a break composition maybe. And then you have 2 really good teams, you know? And then maybe you want to take your follow-up attack to the next level, and then on the rerun Feixiao, you can maybe pick up her then, or skip that as well. Because I do think that the game that we're playing right now, I do think that Ratio is in a good position overall, because he's a DPS. And we all know that this game, like I said before with the composition, it's about the supports. It's about the utility that you can provide. Firefly is cool and all, right? Better than, quote-unquote, better than Boot Hill. Take away her Run May. Take away her Harmony Trailblazer. And where does she stand? She's going to be way worse, you know? She's going to fall off a cliff, literally. Take away Feixiao's, Robin, and Topaz. Where does she stand all of a sudden? It's also going to be significantly weaker. So Ratio will always be in a good position because you have those good supports. Topaz and Robin, phenomenal. If you guys are follow-up attacks fanatics, please try to pick up both of these characters next patch, right? Because they really take follow-up attack to the next level. And fear not, we're probably going to get more follow-up attack synergistic characters. There's probably going to be another, like a third option maybe. We have Topaz that really has that single target buffing. Then we have Robin with the whole party advancement forward and like the dual DPSing. Maybe there's going to be another one in the mix, you know, that does something else unique again. Maybe more with the break bar, or maybe more with like stats boost, like with crit rate, crit damage, because most of the time follow-up attacks characters have that, you know. There can be so many cool things that we can implement, or maybe another sustainer unit with a lot of follow-up attacks there again, like another Aventurine type, you know. There's so many things that can happen now to the end of time. 3.0 to 4.0, 4.0 to 5.0. There's going to be so many cool things that will keep Ratio alive. And even right now, Ratio will still be good because he has such good supportive units. This is why, again, Kafka is in a bad position. She doesn't have good supportive units. She can't even consider being a top DPS because she doesn't have top supportive units. We only have Black Swan right now. So the moment we're going to get more DOT-friendly sustainers, characters, supports, you know, especially that third slot that I've been talking about for the past month, she will skyrocket in value because the supports really make the DPSs alive. So Dr. Ratio, with his composition right now that he has, will always kind of be good because his supportive units will carry him through the game. And you should think about that, you know? An account is probably going to be very valuable, like why Ron May is so valuable. Ron May is so valuable, guys, because she is easy to use, easy to build, can go in any composition, and she supports the composition. Dual DPSs, hyper carry, break, you know, whatever it is, all-type respan. She does it all, but she is a support. If she was a DPS, cool, right? Universal good DPS. We got a bunch of those, right? We have Feixiao now, a new one, Acheron, Firefly. They're always replaceable. Look at Dr. Ratio now. Dr. Ratio was at the top of his game for follow-up attack. A new DPS came out, and now that one is going to be at the top of the game. But because of the supports, they are at the top of the game. Think like that, guys. It's okay. So if you're a Dr. Ratio lover, don't stress. He's still going to be good. And if you want to keep him premium, pull for the other premium units around him to make him the best. Now, if you are, of course, playing for fun, and Dr. Ratio is the most fun character, you love his personality, you know, his goofy, superior smartness that he has, it's okay. You will always make him work. You can always upgrade your relics. You can always try to find a way to keep him premium, you know? So don't stress. Play for fun. If he's your favorite character, he's going to be still good. Now, if you guys are for the most damage that you can do, of course, she's going to be number 2 spot, and Feixiao is probably going to be the best option for you because she will do it better. I would love to hear your guys' takes on the situation here, you know, the poor Dr. Ratio that he has to go through this. Now, he's fine, but I still would love to hear on what you guys are going to do. If you're going to bench Dr. Ratio, if you're still going to use him, what team compositions you're going to put him in, if you're going to pick Feixiao over him, you know, what all your things are going to be and what your plans are going to be for 2.5 and up. I would love to hear your guys' takes and stories on this, and we can all help each other out here in the comments down below. If you love this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Really helps out the channel. Means the world to me if you could do that. Make sure to join the Discord. We're trying to grow the community even further. And if you want to support the channel even further, then become a member. I love you all, and I'll see everyone in the next video. Peace!